evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. CNN News 18 is extensively tracking the probe in the murder of BJP leader and actor Sonali Phogat. CNN News 18 has now accessed a 15-page dossier of the Goa police probe. Sonali's PA, Sudhir, has now confessed to the drug angle. He said that Sonali and Sukhwinder consumed MDMA at the hotel and all of them carried their MDMA drug to Curly's, the bar that is under the scanner, and then they had it at Curly's as well. Sudhir has also revealed that Sonali Phogat had drug overdose and then vomited a lot. The dossier also states that Curly's Beach Shack owner knowingly permitted narcotic activities at their premises.
उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट की थी कि सीबीआई के लिए देनी चाहिए, लेकिन मुझे तो लगता है कि बहुत अच्छी तरह से इन्वेस्टिगेशन हो रही है। फिर भी उनकी रिक्वेस्ट रही तो केस सीबीआई के लिए देना चाहिए, तो हम जरूर इसके ऊपर सोचेंगे। लेकिन उसका पूरा रिपोर्ट जो आज तक इन्वेस्टिगेशन हो गई है, उनका रिपोर्ट आज शाम तक हम डीजीपी हरियाणा और सीएम हरियाणा के लिए भी भेज देंगे। हमारा एंटी नारकोटिक सेल यानी विजिलेंटली अच्छी तरह से, बहुत अच्छी तरह से काम करेगा और उसकी डायरेक्ट रिपोर्टिंग खुद डीजीपी से मैं खुद लेने वाला।
We have specifically taken a ground in our bail application that he is not the owner of the.
So, sir,
who is the owner? You can ask prosecution.
So,
What was the argument given by the public prosecutor?
Public
Just
prosecutor
a simple
only,
thing that he is not an owner of a
no, public prosecutor's argument was that this court has no jurisdiction since it is section 22B of NDPS Act and the bail would lie before NDPS court.
Let me also now bring in my colleague Anshul, who's been tracking all these developments for us from Goa. He's joining us on the broadcast. Anshul, this dossier really is the clincher because still now a lot of questions remain unanswered. Questions like what were the drugs that were consumed, who really bought these drugs, and were the bar officials and authorities actually knew as far as the consumption of the drugs are concerned. Now the larger question is if the bar people or owners at Curly's actually knew about these narcotic activities, why didn't they really raise any red flag?
So yes, the Curly bar owners actually knew about each and everything about the drugs that are being peddled in their bar. They actually knew about each and everything and they knowingly allowed this to happen in their bar. Now, talking to the locals over here on ground in Goa, especially, it is a very open secret. It is a very open secret that such kind of activities happens in North Goa, and especially in 2 to 3 pubs that are situated in North Goa. This includes Curly's and other few clubs that are in that area as well. So yes, the Curly bar owners knew, and this is what he has agreed to in his statement that has been given to the police. And yes, the complaint file that we have accessed, the entire case file that we have accessed, the same file will be sent to the Haryana DGP and the Haryana CM by today evening is what we are being told as well. So yes, according to the file, the exact timeline has been established. As soon as Sonali Phogat and Sudhir landed in Goa, they booked a hotel room. They went to the hotel room, and in that hotel room, they scored these amount of drugs, that is 1 gram of MDMA from the hotel boy itself, who has now been taken into custody by police also. So yes, they initially scored that 1 gram of cocaine MDMA for approximately 5,000 rupees. Then they scored another 1.5 grams for approximately 7,000 rupees. And in that room itself, they snorted a few lines of MDMA is what they have told the police, what Sudhir has informed the police. So this definitely damages the fact that the allegations that have been put by the family that Sonali Phogat did not know that she was consuming the drugs, and those drugs were given to her unknowingly. But yes, Sudhir in his statement said that she knew that she was taking those drugs. A few lines were taken, a small amount was consumed in the room, and the rest, half of amount was
so
left.
As per
that
the
was mixed with
revelations
water
that have
and
been
then was
made as
taken
far
to
as the
Curly's.
PA of Sonali Phogat is concerned, he is now saying that she consumed these drugs knowingly. Anjul, I'll request you to stay on with us. Still a lot of questions remain unanswered as far as the investigation is concerned. But let's first break down some details and talk to our viewers of who really Sudhir Sangwan is and what is his connection as far as Sonali Phogat is concerned. He's a lawyer by profession, registered at the Sonipat Bar Association. If you take a look as far as his personal life is concerned, he's married, has children, was staying but with Sonali since the last 4 years. So what really was the dynamic as far as the relationship was concerned. He met Sonali Phogat in 2019, and this was during her political stint and arranged campaign funds as well. What we're also now picking up is that then he started working closely with Sonali, worked with her as her personal assistant, her manager after polls as well. But this is where it gets interesting, that he in fact had mentioned Sonali Phogat as his wife in documents while renting a house. So what was his role as far as the murder of Sonali Phogat is concerned? I'll request my colleague Anshul to stay on with us. I want to bring in our guests as well. We have senior journalist Hemant Attri, who's now joining us on the broadcast. Hemant, you're somebody who's been tracking the developments of this story since day one very, very closely. Today, the dossier that we've accessed here at CNN News 18 actually answers some of those questions, that yes, MDMA was the drug that was actually scored by Sonali and the people that she was with, which eventually led to her death. But the larger question is, and I want to begin the conversation from there, the role of Curly's and the bar owner. They knew that drugs were being brought from outside, drugs were being consumed in their premises, but nobody wanted to say anything.
Siridima, this is a classic case of mishandling by all authorities, and including the accused also. You'll ask me how. See, initially, once the dose was given, the drug was given to Sonali Phogat, and she was not feeling well, what is the ideal course? If somebody takes medicine and he is not feeling well, he is directly taken to a hospital. They didn't do it. Both the accused kept her in the washroom of the hotel from 1 a.m. in the depth of a night to 4 a.m. in the morning. 3 hours. My question is, what was the intent behind keeping Sonali in that washroom? And what was the restaurant staff, resort staff doing there? But why didn't they force them to take her away to the hospital, or they themselves took her away? Number one. Number two, once she was taken from there to the resort where they were staying, then they also kept her for a while.
Correct.
And at 8, when she was no more, she was taken to the hospital, and as is claimed by the hospital authority, she was brought back. This is point number 2. The most important thing that I want to share with you, Ridhima, is the way Goa police has mishandled this case. Right? 12 hours since the body was taken to the hospital, or for that matter, she was shifted to the mortuary or wherever, the accused Sudhir Sangwan was carrying her telephone.
Correct.
He erased all those data, number 1. Number 2, the most important things. What Goa police is trying to frame is that it is a drug overdose. My questions are entirely different, Ridhima, and they are basic questions. Why Mr. Sudhir Sangwan called some of his associates at a farmhouse in Hisar from Goa to replace all those DVRs, all those laptops, all those property papers? What is the intent, right?
Correct.
The family reached there.
Those are the allegations that are being made by the family. Once the family, of course, has been asking for a CBI probe, but this removal of the CCTV footage from the Hisar farmhouse is raising a lot of questions that what was actually seen as far as that footage is concerned. Hemant, I'll come back to you. We also have Dr. Mahabalesh Shetty, Professor and Head of Forensic Medicine, K.S. Hegde Medical Academy, but we seem to have lost that connection with him. I quickly want to go back to my colleague Anshul. Now, Anshul, I want to understand as far as the role of Sudhir is concerned. While he's confessed that yes, there was consumption as far as drugs is concerned, the larger question here is, and do we have any clarity about this, whether this was forced consumption as far as Sonali is concerned, or was it done with her own choice? Because that will have a lot of clarity whether murder can come as far as the developments are concerned or not.
So yes, what the sources in Goa police have told us, in fact indicated to us, is that she had done this out of her own will. But yes, since these people were doing this drugs for the first time, they did not know the exact amount that needs to be taken, and hence they took a larger amount. All of them consumed these drugs, but at the party when we access the CCTV visual where we can see that she is being asked to drink that water. Most of that water, approximately 1.5 grams of MDMA that was mixed in that water, most of that water was actually consumed by Sonali Phogat herself, some of which was actually forced by Sudhir, and some of which was consumed by Sonali herself. So yes, that is the reason why she got this, she got so high, and the visuals that we accessed, that we could see that she could not even walk to the ladies' washroom. And at approximately 4:30 a.m., finally she asked Sudhir to take her to the ladies' washroom, where reaching approximately approximately 10 meters or 15 meters, she fell 2 to 3 times, and that is when she got those injuries that came out in the postmortem reports, that, where there were marks on her body. So she got the marks from there, is what is being told to us by the Goa police. So yes, this definitely seems to be a case of drug overdose, but yes, the challenge in front of Goa police now remains to prove that section 302 that they have filed in that FIR, how do they manage to convert that to a charge in the charge sheet as well, because
that,
it is
there are a
getting
lot
really
of
very
questions
difficult
being
for Goa
asked
police.
as far as the Goa police themselves are concerned, because they are the same Goa police who had, completely seen this as an open and shut case of a cardiac arrest. They themselves are now changing their narrative. But I'll come back to you in just a bit. I believe we have Dr. Mahabalesh Shetty, who's now back with us. Dr. Shetty, what I want to understand is, as my colleague Anshul is pointing out, and as Hemant was also pointing out, this is now being seen as a case of overdose as far as the MDMA drug is concerned. Do we have an understanding of how this drug reacts on the body? Because that will help us understand what this overdose could have eventually led to and how soon.
No, it is basically a psychoactive substance. It causes increase of dopamine. So it's a stimulant kind of thing, basically. And what it's a type of methamphetamine. The problem in Goa is they don't get pure form of MDMA.
Okay.
It's all mixed. It's like a tablet. So the problem here is like its ecstasy is not a pure form, and it's not like 1.5 gram or 2 grams what they take. It depends on the tablet what kind of purity it has got. So that is the issue here.
Okay. Hemant, I want to come back to... Yeah, we can hear you, sir. I just want to bring in Hemant back in the conversation. Hemant, as I was asking my colleague also, like today the Goa police is saying we're working with the narrative of a drug overdose, but this was the same Goa police that had seen this as an open and shut case a week ago, saying this was cardiac arrest, there was no foul play. If the family wouldn't have raised any red flags saying we wanted a CBI probe, we see some sort of foul play, the Goa police probably wouldn't have reopened this case.
No, Ridhima, the question is something different. The way Goa police has handled this case, this itself raises so many questions. The accused was carrying her telephone for 12 hours. He retained that room in that resort where they were staying earlier, 2 rooms. They were retaining those 2 rooms till next 3 days during the whole time of booking. What was Goa police doing? Why didn't it take possession of all those documents or whatever there was there? They didn't do anything. Now, Goa police doesn't understand one nuance. She was a leader who contested unsuccessfully in Adampur in 2019 on BJP ticket, right? Ridhima, you are aware of that. My question is that again there is a by-election in Adampur now. And the way the family is raising fingers on all the inquiry, the way Goa police is trying to make it a drug overdose case, it can cost very, very dearly to the BJP in Haryana also. They have to understand one thing. Once the family is alleging 2 points. One, the conduct of Sudhir during last 4 years. They have alleged rape. They have alleged many things. They have taken, they have made n number of allegations on him, property, this and that, whatever. How can Goa police correlate the whole issues which are pertaining to Haryana for last 4 years? I fail to understand why Goa police is not readily handing this case to the CBI. Where is the problem? They have already messed up for 3 long days till the postmortem was done, and all those crucial proofs were, erased from the telephone, from the location, from everywhere, except for that narcotic which was, recovered from that washroom. Now, Goa police has to understand one thing. This case is certainly bound to go to CBI due to political reasons in Haryana, where the by-election is going to be there. And let me remind you, Ridhima, last election, she might have lost, Sonali. She has a big fan following. She had 34,000 votes in Adampur. They should not forget it. And there is a by-election coming in, say, about November or December. What is Goa police doing? They have to understand the nuance of the whole thing.
Absolutely. Before I go back to Dr. Shetty, I have another aspect that I want to cover with my colleague Anshul. Anshul, over the weekend, we had accessed a conversation between Sonali Phogat's nephew and the personal assistant Sudhir, who of course now is under the scanner as far as the investigative agencies are concerned. That was a conversation that took place right after the news of the death of Sonali Phogat actually was conveyed to her family members. When asked by the nephew of what really happened, Sudhir at that point said, I have no idea what happened. So there is a discrepancy in what he told the family members and what is now being revealed.
So yes, initially when that conversation happened right after the death of Sonali Phogat, Sudhir in fact told that he had actually no idea what had happened and he had just left the room at the 7 a.m. in the morning, and he came back in the room after approximately 5 minutes when he saw Sonali Phogat being unconscious over there. So yes, this is a discrepancies that is coming up. But yes, the psychological reason that the police is saying or the sources have told us in fact that yes, he did not tell the family members that they were consuming drugs. In fact, he told the family members that yes, till late night we were partying happily, and this morning he left the room for 5 to 7 minutes, and when he came back, he found Sonali Phogat dead. So yes, it seems that he did not want to tell the family members that they were actually consuming drugs in Goa or having a huge party in Goa. This is one reason, or the other reason could be that Sudhir was actually lying to the family members, and he's lying to the Goa police as well now when he's saying that Sonali Phogat herself took those drugs. So to unearth all these evidences, the team of Goa police will be reaching Haryana tomorrow. They will be leaving early morning from here in Goa. Approximately 6 people from Goa police will be going to Hisar tomorrow. They'll go and talk to the family members, get evidences from there, and also all the situation that has developed over here. The entire report will be sent to the DGP and Haryana CM. And even after that, if Haryana CM wants that there should be a CBI inquiry into this case, then Pramod Sawant, the Goa CM Pramod Sawant has said that he will then order the CBI inquiry into this case. But as of now, CBI inquiry has not been ordered by Goa police, by Pramod Sawant, the Goa CM. So it remains to be seen what more facts come out of this case once the Goa police goes to Haryana and talk to the family members and gather other details and actually establish the exact timeline as to from where did they leave, when did they leave, where were they supposed to go, and where they ended up. So these are the 4 points on which the Goa police will be investigating this case further as they go to Haryana tomorrow.
Okay, Anshul, I'll just request you to stay on with us. I quickly want to go back to Dr. Shetty. Now, Dr. Shetty, I want to understand, since there are multiple layers as far as this investigation is concerned, what is going to be that crucial part of evidence that will be a clincher as to who really wanted Sonali Phogat and why?
The fact is that in the investigation, in the toxicological analysis, there should be presence of MDMA. In the toxicological analysis, if there is no presence of MDMA, then I don't know how they're justified. Immediately during the autopsy, postmortem examination itself, the urine test would have helped. A multi-drug test, what we do in our part in Karnataka, coastal Karnataka, if you have got any doubt, we immediately take out the urine from the dead body and do a test there itself.
True.
And immediately we'll give the cassette test, and immediately we'll tell that the presence of so many drugs were present. Let it be cocaine, marijuana, or MDMA, or morphine. Those kind of things, they could have done it there itself in the autopsy itself, postmortem examination. Now they have to wait for the toxicological analysis from the forensic science laboratory. It may take a couple of months.
Okay.
But the presence of MDMA in the serum on the toxicology analysis is paramount. If you don't get MDMA presence in the body, then I don't know, it should be discussed in the other way.
Okay. Okay. I'll just request my guests to stay on with us. We're getting another crucial information coming in. The scope of the investigation will now be increased is what we're understanding. What top NCB sources are now telling CNN News 18 is this, that NCB teams to question accused arrested in Sonali Phogat case, the peddler and the hotel owner as well. According to the police, Sangwan and Singh allegedly mixed some obnoxious substance in water and then forced Sonali Phogat to drink it, which means her drink was spiked. The NCB is also trying to know the main source and how many consumers were there as well. Anshul is getting us all those details. Anshul, talk to us about what are sources within the NCB telling you what is going to be their line of investigation.
So yes, now NCB has finally jumped into this whole case where they are saying that they will now investigate the entire chain as to how did the MDMA get into India and how did MDMA get into Goa in that club, or to the hotel boy who initially provided that MDMA to Sonali Phogat. So initially, now the NCB wants to establish that line of chain of logistics of that drug, so that in future such situation does not happen yet again. Because remember, Goa, especially North Goa, is infamous for such clubs and such pubs where they have such nefarious parties where drugs are peddled, drugs are sold and consumed by users, and these are just random people walking into those clubs, and they get in touch with these peddlers who are just randomly are a part of that party. So yes, the NCB now wants to figure out the exact position of each and every person who was involved in this entire chain, because remember, 2 peddlers have already been arrested by Goa police, and these 2 peddlers would now be NCB would now be speaking to these 2 peddlers and will try to form a chain of events, the logistical chain, as to how did they get their hands on the drugs. And also they will be interrogating Sudhir Sangwan as well, and they will also try to ask him as to how did he get in contact with those people and get those drugs from them. So yes, the entire chain would be revealed. Now the NCB has since jumped into this, because the Goa CM today itself said that the narcotics team is also doing its job just to figure out that the entire chain is developed, and so that they could actually break this chain, so that situations like this, incidents like this could not happen in the future. But yes, Goa has been famous for this. Just a few days ago, another case of drug overdose happened in Goa approximately 4 to 5 days ago. A boy from Hyderabad had to lose his life after he got overdosed by drugs in that entire area. So yes, this has been.
So the larger issue as far as the nexus of where these drugs are coming in from and who actually are supplying these drugs, all these questions still remain. Anshul, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. I'd like to thank our guests as well. We'll keep tracking all these developments, but for now, we're slipping into a very short break.